everybody, and welcome back to my channel. With my brows, I'm going to go ahead and brush them out using a spoolie. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start filling my brows in, starting with the MAC Spiked eyebrow pencil. And I have a tendency to always check where my arch should be. It's a habit. Whenever you fill in your brows, or when we're talking about the basic shape of a perfect brow, the head of your brow should never come past the corner of your nose. Your arch should be going directly across your pupil here, and then your tail should not come past here. So you always want to use the side of your nostril as a guide for how to fill in your brow. So, and I like to start off with small strokes right under the head of the brow. I don't like to come all the way in because I really like my brow to kind of have that really natural look right at the head. So I usually start a little further back. And then I have the tendency to want to drag it up towards where my arch would sit. Because if you notice how my natural brow is, my arch kind of just falls flat. So I like to kind of use the tools of makeup to kind of recreate that shape that I wish that I had. Now with the top, I also want to do the same thing. I don't want to come all the way in. And I'm going to go ahead and really create that arch. Mine should come over about right here. And then I just want to curve it downwards. And now I'm applying more pressure. And then lightly filling it in. Applying more pressure right here at the arch. More pressure. And really laying the pencil down and kind of just dragging it. And then I'll just do little light strokes to kind of fill it in. Little light strokes. And I'm barely touching my skin with this pencil. And now I'm going to apply more pressure up to where the arch is. Lay my pencil down and drag. So now I'm going to take my Dip Brow Pomade in Chocolate. I'm going to use my MAC 208 brush. And I don't want a lot of product, so I'm just kind of dipping it in there. Wiping the excess off on my arm or hand. And really starting at the arch of the brow, because that's kind of where I want it to be a little bit bolder. Dipping in, getting a little bit more product. And doing the same thing I did with the pencil and kind of laying my brush and dragging it down. And I'm barely touching the head of my brows. I'm kind of just using this pencil almost like I'm kind of using this brush almost like I would the spoolie, as I kind of just went through to kind of brush in the excess product. And so that's pretty much how I fill in the brow. And then to clean that baby up, to make it look sharp, I'm going to take my MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette. Clearly I used the mess out of this. And I like to, when I fill in my brow, I fill in the head of the brow with the color that's more closer to my skin tone. And then at the arch, I'll use a color that I would typically use to conceal. So I'm going to use the NC50 at the head of my brow. And I just like to use back and forth motions. Then I'm just going to kind of drag it down. And now with the concealer, I sometimes kind of like to come a little bit past the brow because it just, I don't know what it is about it, but it kind of, once it's finished, it really helps allow that head of the brow to kind of have a more gradient effect. So I kind of like to do that. And then right under the arch of the brow, I'm going to take the NC45 and just begin cleaning up the brow, sharpening the tail a bit and dragging it down. Then I'm just kind of using my finger to kind of blend everything together. Take my spoolie just to kind of remove some excess product. And that's it. So that's pretty much how I like to fill in my brows when I'm really kind of taking my time, if you will, to kind of really make it perfect. Sometimes I will just simply use my MAC spike pencil and kind of just completely fill in the brow that way. Usually when I want something a little bit bolder, I will use the pomade, or I'll do the same thing that I did today and kind of just use a variation of both of the products together. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the other brow using the same method. And then I'm kind of using my hairs at the head of my brow that are a tad bit longer than the rest of the hairs that form my arch as my guide for how high I actually want my brow to be for the shape. And I also feel like if you kind of turn yourself to where your brow is facing the mirror where you can really see it, opposed to trying to do it straight on, I feel like you also do a much better job with filling in the brow as well. Oh, also, I don't know if you noticed, but I do not do the concealer above the brow anymore. I used to do that when I first started doing makeup, and that's how everyone was doing their brows. But sometimes when you do it, well, when you do, not sometimes, but when you do, like, let's say I use the NC45 to trace and outline the whole shape of my brows will look like they are literally floating off of my face. And the purpose of makeup, you know, it's just to enhance, you know, our features, and we don't want to look like clowns. And not to say that people do, because a lot of people fill in their brows and, you know, they outline them, but because they wear foundation, they're kind of able to conceal that, you know, lighter concealer. Well, I don't wear foundation. I'm just a highlight, contour, it's just my preference not to wear foundation. So for me, if I'm to completely highlight or trace or outline my brow, it will look cray. So I choose not to. Now when I do the center highlight, I mean, of course, you know, you kind of get the concealer above the brow, which is fine, but I just personally don't care for completely outlining the brow, just because it gives it a much softer and more natural look. But honestly, to each his own. So this was just simply my brow tutorial and some tips and tricks of things that I like to do to fill in my brows. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As always, know that I love you and God truly loves you so much more. And I will catch you guys in the next video.